How is it going, guys? Drew Peacock here, back with another video. Today I'm going to be telling the beautiful story of a ricer blossoming from a ricer into a beautiful flower car enthusiast. This is the story of me and how I became a car enthusiast, what I was and who I became. I guess I was one of them ricer boys. Again, I'll throw in pictures, I have photo evidence, and I'll tell you the story of pretty much how I got into cars. So I got my license pretty late. I was 18 years old and my first car was a 2000s Chevy Malibu, okay? It didn't have AC, it had leather seats, no tint, and 2 of the power windows did not work, okay? I'm going to skip over this car for the most part because I didn't do anything like fun to this car. I didn't modify this car. I had it for a month and then I crashed it. It was a piece of shit car. That's not why I crashed it. I crashed it because I was being an idiot on the highway, you know, riding someone's ass in traffic trying to get to college fast because I was running late, and my brakes locked up, and yeah, I just rear-ended someone, skid right into them. It was my fault. I'm not blaming my brakes or anything like that. I skid into them. I pressed my brakes too hard, and yeah, just rear-ended his Tacoma. Here's a picture right here of my car and his car. It wasn't a good day for me. My car ran still. I still went to college and everything, and yeah, that was the end of the story of that car. That was technically my first car. I had it for a month, like I said. It was a piece of shit. No AC, leather seats, fishable. It was bad. Anyway, this is when I started shopping for a car. So the insurance company told me that my car was totaled, so we got some money for it, and I started shopping. I had a decent budget, you know, for Craigslist cars, anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000, and on Craigslist, that's okay. You can find a decent car for that. But I knew at that point that I wanted a stick shift car. When I would drive my Malibu, sometimes I would, you know, pretend it was stick shift. I would throw a water bottle in the fucking like cup holder right there and act like it's a stick shift, just like, dude, this would be so fun if this was actually stick shift. I wouldn't do it all that often, but you know, every once in a while when I'm bored driving home from college, I'd be like, just having fun with it, okay? Just as a kid would when they're 18, you know, realizing that, hey, this is pretty fun. Anyway, I started shopping and I knew I wanted something stick shift. I saw a couple different cars that caught my eye. I almost got a Honda Hatch. Thank God I didn't. I knew even back then I didn't like Hondas. You know, I looked at it and I was just like, this just looks like a douchebag car. And I didn't want it, so I didn't get the Honda Hatch. But I saw a couple Mustang GTs. But since I'd just gotten into a car accident, my parents were like, no, you're not getting a V8 and you're not going to go kill yourself. So my parents, being the white parents that they are, they were completely against race cars. They were completely against V8s and stuff like that. They were like, you just need a car to get to college and get you back, you know, no V8s. And since the Malibu was in their name and the insurance company gave them the money for it, the ball was in their court, so I kind of had to listen to what they said. So I went and settled for the V6 Mustang stick shift. It was a 2002 stick shift V6 Mustang, and I loved this car. When I first got it, I mean, the paint and everything was pristine. You'll see in some of the pictures later on that the paint was pristine. I mean, for an 02, it was white. I think they call it Oxford white. It was white and it was beautiful. Exterior, interior, everything was pretty much flawless on the car. It had one little scrape on the rear bumper, but they did a pretty decent job of covering it up. I mean, I didn't even notice from the pictures, but it was, again, flawless. You'll see in the pictures later on of when I throw on the ricer shit that, yeah, it was, I mean, the paint was good. I kind of butchered it with everything else, but the paint was good. Anyway, this is when I started getting into cars. So I got the car and I thought I knew how to drive stick shift. When we got home, my dad drove it home from when we picked it up. When I got home, I was like, all right, Dad, I'm gonna go get some gas, see you later. Hopped in the car and stalled out for about 2 blocks, just continuously just stall. Had no idea how to drive stick. I saw the video, so I thought I knew, but I had no idea of how to actually do it. So I stalled out. Again, my neighbors at one point were outside just staring at me stall out, and it was bad. I was about to call my dad and tell him, yo, can you help me? Because I do not know how to drive this shit. I was going to go back, and I was not going to go on a main street with this piece of shit. So I was stalling out. Eventually, I got it back to the house. I was like, yo, can you come with me to get gas? You know, I want to learn how to drive it. So I went with him. He kind of taught me a little bit. I got the hang of it. And after a week of driving stick, I was pretty much good. I knew how to do it. I knew my way around a stick shift. I knew how to work the shaft, if you know what I mean. So this is when I started getting interested in like going fast. Okay, now it was a V6, but I thought that it was just the fastest car I'd ever been in. It probably was the fastest car I'd ever been in, because I don't think I've been in anything faster than that at that time. You know, none of my friends had any fast cars. My buddy Daniel, he had a Nissan Versa at the time, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But back then, none of my friends really had any fast cars. I think maybe the only car that I'd been in besides that car that was technically a sports car was a Scion TC. and it had LEDs on the interior too. So again, we weren't talking about no, you know, V8s or twin turbo shit. So started from the bottom, now we're here. So anyway, this is when I started getting into driving fast and stuff like that. This is when I really, you know, when you go from driving an automatic to a stick shift, it's just a completely different feeling. Having the control of what gear you're in for how long you're in, you know, the throttle response of second gear compared to fourth gear, it's a nice feeling. Anyone that has, you know, anyone that has driven a stick shift car knows what I'm talking about, and especially when you're just learning and when you're getting the hang of it still, it's fun. So I was like, okay, I want to make my car faster. I looked up videos and they were like, yeah, you can get catback exhaust, you can get intake, you can do rear gears, you know, shit like that. But I was a broke ass college student. I didn't have a full-time job at the time. I worked part-time at like a t-shirt shop, and I was on call, maybe made at most 100, 200 a week. So I wasn't, you know, I wasn't a rich guy by any means. And again, I was a college student, had a girlfriend at the time, so I was not, you know, out here big balling, having all the money in the world. So I went to my local Pep Boys, as every racer does, looking for some mods. I saw the K&N intake, and I was so tempted to buy it, and then I saw the price tag of like 50, 60, 70 bucks, and I was like, nope, not buying that. I'm not gonna shell out 50 bucks for an intake that I'm probably not gonna feel the gains of, which, you know, people say intakes don't work. Some people say intakes do work. I don't know. Let me know where you guys stand on that. But as a college student, I didn't see that it wasn't a smart purchase for me to buy a $50 intake from my V6. I just, you know, I didn't want to go for it. So I did not buy the intake. I did not buy any of the shit that they sold there. Instead, I went home and I had this app on my phone called Geek. It's kind of like wish.com, where you can buy like parts from like China and shit like that for really cheap. But it's just, think of it, when I say Geek, think of wish.com. It's pretty much the same shit, but you can buy pretty much anything for really cheap. So I went on Geek and I was looking at car parts, and I mean, they had fake carbon fiber wrap, they had badges, interior trim, LEDs, wheel trim, I think I said fake badges. They pretty much had the Ricer checklist for a car. I mean, everything that, you know, we make fun of, they had. So I went on there, and instead of spending the $50 on the intake, I spent that $50 on multiple shitty little mods, and I'm gonna break them down what I got. So starting out strong, we got fake daytime running lights. Well, not fake, but we got, you know, little aftermarket daytime running lights, the ones that you just kind of tack on to your headlights. Don't have a picture of them on my car. I had those. They were blue, of course. I had LEDs that I put in my grill. You know, that was the idea for them. They were blue. Footwell LEDs, they were blue. Interior trim, blue, of course. Wheel edge trim, and it was reflective. I picked up some of that, and it was, of course, blue. And I think, what else did I get? Oh, and on top of all of it, the Ricer modification that no one wants to buy, I bought a turbo whistle. Now, I did not use the turbo whistle on my car because I knew it was a gag, but I bought it and I was like, I'm really curious what this sounds like. It was $1. I wasn't really, you know, breaking the bank for it, and I never put it on my car, but we actually put it on my buddy Daniel's Versa, and it is still on that car to this day. His little sister drives around the car now. It's her car, and it is still on that car. We threw it on as a gag, and we just never took it off. So yeah, if you see a Versa with a turbo whistle driving around SoCal, it is probably that Versa. It's a little egg silver car. So anyway, I got these mods, and of course they took like a month to get to me because they're from China, and I thought I was the shit. I threw them on my car. I got, like I said, the LED grill, the daytime running lights that were blue. I had the interior footwell, which I wired all myself. I felt pretty good. I felt pretty cool doing that. The blue trim, everything. I don't have pictures of everything because, again, I wasn't into the whole car scene. I wasn't, you know, into taking photos. I have a couple photos here. I will throw them in. I didn't have a plethora of photos. So maybe I'll throw in some photos right here, just showing what it kind of looked like, you know, giving you guys some ideas. But it doesn't stop there. So after this, I was like, okay, well, I want to make my car sound louder. And this is around the, it had been a couple months by now. Some of the stuff I had taken off and switched out. So instead of having the blue daytime running lights, I switched them out for just normal white ones. And I have a picture of those right here. This is the picture I think I showed earlier too. But these were a lot more subtle, and they didn't look as bad. I also wired them a bit differently, so they looked kind of clean. But again, still just cheap, tacky, you know, daytime running lights on a 02 V6. Anyway, I wanted to make my car louder, and this is when I actually started to look for an actual job. My brother at the time was working at the Chevy dealership near me, so I was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna get a job there. Hopefully he can get me in there, and I'll start saving up for an actual car. At the time, I wanted a 2013 or 2014 Mustang GT. That was my favorite generation, and it was the cheapest way to get the most amount of horsepower. Everything, again, this is 2015, 2016, so everything back then was either expensive or just didn't have enough horsepower. You know, the 5th gen Camaro didn't have as much horsepower. Chargers, Challengers, they were all too big and heavy. I was like, okay, the Mustang, I can pick up one of these for maybe mid 20s, low 20s, and I'll have 420 crank horsepower. Not so bad. So I had, you know, started looking for a job. But what I did was I went and I disconnected my mid pipe from my muffler, and I put a little spacer so you can hear that beautiful sounding V6. And I left this only like this for about a week because it was so obnoxious. I could not stand it. It was cool when I did it. I had fun because my car sounded so mean. Again, it was a V6, but it sounded like, damn, like this is my car. I like completely changed it. And oh, I'm looking back at it now, and I was like, dude, I was probably the biggest douchebag driving down the street ever. I'm talking, again, daytime running lights, LED grill, open mid pipe. Just, oh my god, I can't believe I did that. I only left it like that for a week, but actually when I went to go my first day of work at Penske, I still had it like that, and I was so embarrassed pulling up because everyone there, you know, they're actual usually car enthusiasts, and I'm pulling up with this V6 Mustang grill and LED grill lights, and it was bad. Like I'm embarrassed thinking back at it just right now. But once I started working there, this is when I started to shift my ideas. My buddy that I used to work with, his name was David. He had a Ram 1500 short bed, single cab, and he modded the shit out of it. You know, full Borla exhaust, aftermarket intake, with some nice wheels, lowered it a bit. I mean, it was a bicep truck, but like it had balls for sure. He had it tuned and everything, like it had balls. And that truck was so cool. I'm sad that it got wrecked. It got hit while it was parked in front of his house, which would just kill me if that happened to my car. But anyway, he started to kind of like correct my ideas of a car. Again, at the time I'd wanted the 2014 Mustang GT, so I'd kind of talked to him about that. But then he saw my car and he was like, dude, you gotta stop with this shit. So at the time, I think I'd already taken off the daytime running lights. I think I still had the LED grill, but that was quick to go. That was one of the first things to go. He saw the blue trim on the interior. That was quick to go. He was like, dude, this shit looks tacky, like just take it off. I took that off. I think the only thing that I left on, and just because again it wasn't like super ricey, and I don't even think it still is, was just the footwell LEDs. That was the only thing that I left, and that I think is still on the car. I think they're still technically hooked up, but again, my mom drives the car now, so it's not like she's cruising around town to the grocery store, you know, with those on. But again, back then I thought I was the shit. But yeah, eventually he kind of corrected me and put me on the right course to, you know, actually modifying a car. He had talked me into looking into LS swapping it. Because my parents were completely against me buying a car. They were completely against me buying a V8. So he was like, maybe you can just LS swap this and you might be okay. They were, of course, against that as well. So eventually, I just started saving up, realizing that I would have to do it all on my own because my parents did not want me to get a car that was fast. And I got in contact with another guy at the dealership, my buddy Mark. And he turns out he was selling this 06 Mustang GT with a couple mods on it, and I had some money at the time. I didn't know him really at all at the time. I knew who he was, and he might have seen me around the dealership, but like we didn't know each other. We were nowhere near like close or anything like that. And yeah, we worked out a deal. I bought it off of him, no help, no parent help at all. And yeah, that's the story of pretty much how I went from a complete ricer to what I am now. Obviously, you know, I summed it up really quick. This was over years, and I summed it up into what, like a 10-15 minute video. So it wasn't like, oh, okay, I got hired and then I bought that car. It was like I got hired, I was working there for 1.5 to 2 years saving up, and in the meantime I was, you know, making my car back to normal, returning it to stock, and actually like looking into like fast cars and like getting into the car scene. And during that time, that's when you know, again, I was saving up for the 06. So I had gotten the white Mustang back in 2015, and I think I bought the GT in 2017. So again, a good 2 years. And working at Chevy, I'd realized what kind of cars I liked. I was around Camaros and Corvettes all day, every day, and a lot of people are probably like, why didn't you just buy one of those? You'd probably got a decent deal on it. Yeah, but again, I was around them all day. So I kind of just I don't know, they were cool and all, but they were just like work cars to me. So they weren't for me. Again, they're good cars, you know. The 6th gen Camaro is fucking crazy, but first of all, you know, price wise, it's just you're gonna pay what, $38 to get into a base model SS. It's just I don't know, it didn't seem worth it for me. So obviously, you know, I don't need to tell you guys about my car. You guys should know about my car by now, so I'm not gonna go into extra detail about the GT. But yeah, so a couple years went by, went from a racer to a car enthusiast, realized what I liked about cars, and that's kind of what I still like. You know, I just like going fast. I like performance. You know, I like my car to look nice too, but I'd rather go fast than look nice. So that's just personal preference right there. You know, I'm not gonna cry over a little rock chip or a little scratch or something, unless it was intentional. If someone did that to my shit intentional, then maybe. But you know, a car's meant to be driven. If I get a little scratch driving on the freeway or a little rock chip, it's not the end of the world to me. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap up this video right here. Yeah, I was pretty bad. I didn't go and buy a double-decker wing though or anything like that. That was never on my agenda. But yeah, doing the little tacky stuff, I did stuff that was easily removable for the most part. I didn't do anything crazy. I did also have red spray painted brake calipers, of course, but again, nothing super permanent. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up, comment down below something, I don't know, whatever you want. Subscribe to join the flock. Until next video, peace.